cheers.
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 Cheers, guys.
Good to have you.
Doctors are all trying to kill you.
There are a lot of wounded healers.
The doctor knows it all.
You never think that that is the case.
Saying food is medicine.
The amount of people that ask me what salt do you use or what oil do you use, I'm like,
Why are you so worried about the salt?
Prevention versus treatment.
What is it behind this question?
Either prevention or treatment.
hospitality industry wastes 1.1 million tons of food per year.
Are we getting it wrong, Sophia?
You never need to convince an athlete about their recovery.
There is a bit of a culture of punish yourself. You know, I ate this, so I'm going to go and work it off.
So there's nothing wrong with stress. Hi, I'm Dr Safia Dabar, GP, former Mayo Clinic stress expert and breathwork facilitator.
I'm Vanessa Sturman. I'm a health and nutrition coach and award-winning speaker.
Hi, my name is Vince Kelly. I'm a professional chef, culinary lead and sustainability lead at Culinary Medicine UK.
Hello, my name is Dr Hosnieh Fathi. I am a clinical researcher, health coach, and fellow to the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Medicine. Good to have you.
Thanks for inviting us.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Excellent.
It's a refresher.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming over. The idea is we are going to enjoy food, of course, Persian flavored, but just have a discussion as well. And I think that one of the main things that from where I sit, most of the past, if you like, my 15 years of professional work has been focused on what would be the best innovative solution to treat that and to treat this. We are getting to the place that now even cancer, which was at some point a death sentence, becomes a chronic condition. Now I'm moving away from having that everything needs to be treated now to how can we actually prevent it? Is it possible to revert it? And there are a lot of conversations, and over the past few years I have been fully merged into the lifestyle medicine and health coaching, and I see a lot of value in it. And I know that we share this interest. So I thought that as we eat, why not we talk and answer some questions, and as you know, I have randomly basically distributed these cards.
Very well organized, color coded and everything.
So we will go with whatever cards that we think that is relevant. And I'm going to start with the one that only I can ask, I guess. Prevention versus treatment. Are we getting it wrong, Sophia?
Ooh. I think that once we are binary and once we're either this or this, we are getting it wrong. And as a medical doctor who's worked in various specialties, some of them are about treatment, where it's acute, it's necessary, it's kind of something to be dealt with. But fundamentally, the lens in terms of one versus the other, I feel that that's not a... I think we're missing the point there. I think it has to be both.
I think
so.
Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, if we're thinking one versus the other, we're implicitly saying one is better than the other. There's one that's right. There's one that's wrong. No, we have to start to integrate. We have to start to look predominantly at prevention, but obviously some things need to be treated. So when we think about the kind of the social determinants of health, we need to bring that in. We need to bring the cultural stuff. We need to bring our genetic factor. You know, it's so multifactorial that we can't reduce it to this or this. And the problem is when we go down conventional medicine, we block out everything else. And if you look to the history, which is super important, which I was recently looking at, it was René Descartes in 1641 that decided.
Like the regular with the use of René Descartes.
But he decided, you know what? I'm going to split medicine goes to science. The body rather goes to science, and the soul belongs to the church.
Oh,
And
okay. I
since
did not know
1641, we have been operating under that model, where we have separated soul and body. Whereas all the ancient civilizations,
that.
it was one.
Collective and holistic. Yeah.
So we need both, basically. A long-winded way to say we need both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many different moving parts, isn't there? And I know lifestyle medicine is not just food, but obviously from my point of view, it's a lot to do with food for me. And I think that's one thing I'm always talking about, is how people are saying food is medicine, and it's not. Food within medicine, I think, isn't it? Food as medicine, within medicine, and not to be, again, because there's so many different moving parts, so many different things that can impact. But yeah, I think there's a lot people can do around lifestyle medicine, movement and everything else, and all the fitness is fantastic. I mean, I'm not a health professional, but even you just feel better for it already, don't you? So yeah.
So I agree with exactly what you said, Sophia, but I have to also bring in the social media side and what people outside think. And they dichotomize these two things. It's either prevention or treatment. And these kind of more nuanced conversations are so important, because it's very easy to get on camera and shock everyone and get the views by saying, doctors are all trying to kill you. And people go, yeah, that must be right. And I've got to go and take this supplement instead, and that's going to do what it needs to do. But this is exactly why we need these sorts of conversations as well, because it's never just one or the other, and they interact really, really well. And we need to also build trust again, I think, in doctors, because they're doing the most incredible job. They're so important. They're literally saving lives. But unfortunately, social media will make you think that it's different.
And they're so empathetic as well, like, and people just forget that, like, and they kind of have this distance from their GPs as well, don't they? You've seen a lot of that going on too. I don't understand what's going on there too. So yeah, great. Amazing stuff going on.
Great, I cannot agree more. The reality is we cannot have one without the other. I mean, as you said, it is a holistic approach. And if you cannot have that holistic approach, you are missing the point. I mean, even if you're providing the treatment and you are not supporting the environment and the mental health of the person, you are totally out of the place. So on that point, I think we need to tackle the food.
And this is the...
And that is Shirazi salad. Yeah.
I really want to ask this question because you were talking about the different elements that come into people's health, all the different factors. And this question is, are we asking too much of individuals? And my answer is definitely yes, because we absolutely know so many factors affect people's ability to be healthy. So many factors affect things like obesity, socioeconomic factors, genetics, education, accessibility. And so to say it's the individual's responsibility 100% to change is just, it's inaccurate because there's so many different factors.
I have another view on that, because I think that conventional medicine has taken away the agency from people in a way that the doctor knows it all. I mean, I know that in the era of internet, people go around and search for themselves, and they can come up with much more informed version of the patients we used to see. However, I think that taking away the agency altogether as well might be the challenge that we have these days, to be quite frank. But I do agree with you that maybe we should not put all the pressure on them, or trying to get them to think about this and that and that. Maybe the culture, the policies, everything needs to be supportive to help them.
Yeah. And it's
No, it's a co-created relationship.
Collaboration.
It's collaboration, and I think we are missing the kind of point. Our bodies have inbuilt wisdom, inbuilt homeostasis. We have an autonomic system where we don't need to tell our gut to absorb. We don't need to tell our heart to beat. So we have this innate, the body knows what to do if it is allowed to do so. The issue I find is that we're so disconnected that we don't know how to access that. So it's very important for us to just have a basic knowledge of our neuroscience, you know, to know what happens when I am in stress. Who am I in stress? Who am I when I'm rested? What will contribute to that? And so that the locus of control can be restored, so that we know what is our job, what is my doctor's job, where's the overlap, You know, how can we collaborate? And fundamentally, I think we need a bit of self-exploration and a bit of reflection in terms of what is our purpose, what is our, and we don't ask that. We don't ask about meaning, we don't ask about purpose, we don't ask about our why. So I think that that kind of all-encompassing wellness model has to include all of these. Will your doctor do it all? Of course not. The conventional medical system is not built for that. But if we start to recognize ourselves as one with all of these facets, then we can start, you know, then we're off for a good starting point, as opposed to, is it you, is it me, is it the doctor? So I think that once we start to move towards that, and this is the issue with social media, there's so much noise and there's so much pressure in that we're told it's this way or no way, when in fact, it's where it's coming from. Like I always think, if you're coming at it from a place, and if we think of neuroscience, if you're coming at it from a place of rest, recovery, curiosity, learning, etc., then that's anti-inflammatory, isn't it? You know, that's coming from a good place. But if we're coming at it, even if it's a positive lifestyle change, from a place of fear or pushing or stress, then you can be at the gym doing everything, but it's inflammatory for you because you're hating yourself and you're thinking you should be like this or like that.
Yeah,
so I think we're coming back to...
You don't want to be too pushy. You want to get people... It's a lot of coaching comes into it, doesn't it? It's coaching people to make behaviour change one step at a time for people, isn't it? And it's difficult, and you know, not everyone has access to many different things as well, so there's a lot to take in all of the time, but just small steps.
It's tiny, really, really tiny. It's really more about consistency. It's really about cutting the rubbish, you know, that is available.
Which a lot of it is around.
This is the thing.
And despite, I'm also a coach. I think all of us do a form of coaching. And so obviously there's individuals and they want to do a lot. I just see the barriers as well. So it's that systems change, which is where my sort of answer came from was, of course, I help individuals actually make these changes, but they are being made sometimes in an environment that's not particularly conducive to change and supporting it. Yeah. There's people who are going to struggle more than others because of the environment they're in. So me saying that I think we're asking too much of individuals often comes in that place of saying there is this system change that really, really needs to help them. That actually for some people to get from A to B, it is going to be a bit of an uphill battle, but it could be helped if we do bring in, it's a mix of things, some policy changes, education, all of these different areas that are going to support that. And I'm also trying to get workplaces to change some of their environments as well. And some of them are very interested in that. They're interested in more than just me coming and doing a talk. They're actually interested in asking me what kind of things could we serve in meetings, in conferences, at offices, so that we can make that change easier for these individuals who do really, really want to change.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes, biscuits at the meeting really gets up on my wick at work as well, at the college group as well. We do it all the time.
Yeah. I was just saying earlier, exactly like in the organization. So for pharma companies, most of them do have the fruit basket. Where I remember when I was working in hospitals, we had cakes and donuts and chocolates. And it is like, what the hell? We are actually working in the health service and we have the worst type of food.
But there is, you know, so for example, some work we do outreach with food banks through Felix Project. And there's some interesting things that go on there with food banks. And no matter what you do, even I used to, you know, volunteer at a few of them as well. And you see when all the what we call them, service users, so when the people come in, they will make a beeline for the more convenient stuff because that's what they know. And it's usually a lack of skills or knowledge of how to actually just cook something quite simple as well. And time, everyone's time poor, or maybe don't have the time in other ways. But and so what we used to do is make little recipes for them and just say, look, why don't you try this? And it's always good if you have a little kitchen there. And we used to get students to make, just like take all the tin stuff, just make beans and just make a little tasty stew and just say, look, this, you could easily make this, there's the recipe, there's what we use all the vegetables, use them all up, that kind of thing. So I thought that kind of, it was kind of a bit of a light bulb moment for some people, and you never think that is the case. You always think, surely, like, especially when you're working as a chef all your life, you're kind of like, surely they know how to do X, Y, Z, but people don't, and they don't have knife skills, and they don't understand that you can just take everything and cook it off. And people get, the amount of people that ask me what like salt do you use or what oil do you use? I'm like, I'm not drinking the oil. Like I'm just pan frying something to get flavor onto something. And you know, I always mess and say I use pink Himalayan sea salt from the Arctic Circle. So anyway, yeah, just all this sort of overthinking things and worrying too much about. And what pan do you use? I use a wok for nearly everything I cook at home because it's easy to clean. I just quickly do what I need to do, wash it out, off I go, boom. Everyone's like, oh, what pans do you use? And what do I do? And how do I buy this? Like, you don't need much.
Become over obsessed with certain elements that have, it is like the idea, like you do performance coaching, like the idea of 80-20, that's like the effort needs to go where the most important, the impact is coming out. It's like if you're so bothered about what type of pan you're going to use, and then in comparison, I heard during the conference last weekend I attended to, that around 70% of the children of the one school that these people were working in, they did not recognize a potato. To me, that was shocking. It's like they have seen only chips
and crisps.
And crisps. That is not a potato.
So it's interesting what you, we were talking about this earlier, that, and these questions, that's interesting because I get asked very similar questions. You know, what is the one food I shouldn't eat? Or, you know, things like that are not necessarily particularly helpful to people's lives. And most people are not doing the 80% that could really, really help them. They are asking the small questions and saying, is this oil going to be really, really bad for me that I'm just frying a little bit of something in? And of course, I've got to bring in the fiber stat that less than 1 in 10 people are even getting enough fiber. There's somewhere to start. That is just, you know, putting more beans into your rice as you cook it, adding more vegetables, building in the handful of nuts and seeds every day. It's these small things that are so much small that relate to a big part of our lives than worrying about the type of salt. I don't use pink Himalayan salt.
I do.
But you can, but it doesn't matter kind of thing compared to all the other things that we're using.
But let me just tell you before the meeting that I was this last week, it was so fascinating. So someone is asking a nephrologist, a kidney doctor, about the salt, which salt is good, which salt is not good. And he was like, to me, salt is sodium chloride, no matter which shape or form it is
There is a
coming.
difference.
But there is a difference. But that difference is so minimal in so many ways compared to the amount of salt that someone is going to use, thinking that it is a healthier version, but I'm going to pour it in.
It's the same with like using a slow cooker. It's fine rather than pan fry. Okay, on a professional level, you're going to get you're going to have more flavor if you pan fry it first and everything else, and make your stew and all in the pot, and you know, control the temperature and keep the lid on so you're not losing so much flavor. In a slow cooker, okay, you're not going to seal off things, and so certain mild reactions are not going to happen if you want to get deep into it, but same thing, it will still taste fine. You're not like selling it, you're just trying to nourish yourself and your family or whatever it might be. And that whole thing as well about hiding vegetables and things on the kids, I don't 100% agree with that one. I think that we should just introduce the vegetables and get them used to the vegetables. I don't know why we should be hiding them. So I did actually used to do this myself, where I used to blend kidney beans and put them into like bolognese when my kids were small and stuff like that. But now I will make a bean stew curry thing. I will put it in the middle of the table. I'll also put wraps. I wish I had time to make my own flatbreads. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use wraps. I'm sorry. I'll use the best, most minimally processed ones I can get my hands on perhaps, but I have to. My wife works in the NHS. She's a nurse. She works evening shifts. We'll come home, leave that stew in the slow cooker, put it in the table, smash up a couple of avocados, put the wraps. I'll cook them, chicken fillets, and just slice them up and throw them on the table. They'll just make their own wraps. But they will start to eat the beans, and it has worked because now they'll eat them beans. What's before they wouldn't have touched them beans. And that's how I got them to eat beans. Like, I know that sounds like a very long way of doing it, but
draw
I had to like
on other cultures. The concept of there being a kids menu versus an adult menu. I've always had issues. Why does a kid's menu have pasta, fish fingers, and burgers, and the adult menu is different?
I did my dissertation on children's menus.
Yeah. So
in
why,
hotels,
why,
restaurants,
why
and
is
bars
that?
in
So
Ireland,
we look to,
like
to
years
good,
ago, 20
good
years ago.
other
something.
cultures where the kids eat what the adults eat, full stop, from day one. But in reference to the points you were making before about why do some people get so caught up on what type of salt and da-da-da, we're asking the wrong questions. We need to go to what is the human need for these answers. We go to the neuroscience, because if you know that that person is just seeking control, is just seeking certainty, and is over and wants the answers, then they're going to be asking, you know, what shall I do for this and this? So we need to backtrack. Keep going back. Why? Why? Yeah, because then you're getting at it. You're going to the CEO, you're going to the top. And what regulates us? So once we know, why, what is it behind this question? Why are you so worried about the salt? Yeah. Why are you so, you know, always we need to be asking why to get to the fundamental, because that is the core essence, not the question itself, I think.
Yeah. I do want to go for this so we can. Okay, no, don't worry. No, that's okay. We keep our cutleries.
Yes, put that on the rest. That'll be perfect.
I just had another perspective on the hiding the vegetables, because I think you're absolutely right in saying we shouldn't have to do that because we want to be introducing these foods. But I think there's also quite a cool skill in how we can use things like beans to blend into a sauce, to make a sauce thicker. That's a cool thing to be able to do with food, but not just because we're trying to hide the vegetables, just because we want to learn different ways to do that.
No, I mean, tell them though that it's in there, like, make them realise that's what that is.
And let them actually know and let
Rather
people
than-
say it. This is the really amazing way I made. Thank you very much.
Look how
I made this dinner.
How we've made that what you're used to by using that ingredient. Like, so don't be afraid of it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Well,
Great.
Can you
So-
send the pictures after? If
Yeah,
you
we are
could-
going to share them
Yeah.
afterwards. So this is the green spring salad.
Wow.
Lettuce, almond,
Oh, I
spring
love.
salad,
I love-
pomegranate, molasses.
These are so nice, the fresh almonds.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They're so, I love these. Thank you.
Good. Who wants to go for the next question then?
So I have, of course I'm going to go for the stress question. Stress is unavoidable. What's wrong with that?
Oh.
I think what is wrong with that is it depends on the context in which you are saying it. So if you're saying it as a victim state, you know, stress is unavoidable, then you're kind of disempowering yourself. And stress is unavoidable, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's part of our growth. It's part of our nervous system, and it is necessary. It enables survival. It enables us to thrive. And we need it. It's inbuilt. So what I do want to bring up with this is, if we know the benefit of stress, and if we see it as not the enemy, but as something to be danced with, as something to be mastered, as something to understand, then it can truly help us. You know, it can really, really help us in that journey. So if I know stress is going to help me perform, it's going to help me be more active, it's going to help me be more on, it's going to help me learn up to a point. And it's not just about stress, it's about the recovery. So what goes up has to come down. So if I know about my stress cycle, then I'm not demonizing stress. So there's nothing wrong with stress if we understand it. There's everything wrong with stress if we see it as the villain, as the enemy of the story. But I'd be interested to see what you guys think and how you see stress as a concept.
I'm neurodiverse, and I find stress is a big part of my whole work journey, my professional journey. I like to work under stress. I kind of get it. I kind of need that sort of fix. I find myself over the years, and I know how to manage it and work with it, and I enjoy it. I kind of like the buzz of working under stress. I work better under stress sometimes, yeah. On certain projects I would.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. I think a lot of chefs do, actually. I think it's a bit of a thing. But
How do you
notice.
recover?
Fine, I don't like... I'll get the project completed and all, but I know that I'll put so much more into what I'm doing at the time if I leave it till a little bit later. And it's, I know it's a bit crazy, but that's kind of I work best like that
it makes
sometimes.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Anyway, that's something I wanted to say.
What I find super interesting is in the field of athletics, for example, they're under stress, so when they're training and everything, but you never need to convince an athlete about their recovery, because they see it as part and parcel of the way that they're training. But for some reason, we have come away from recovery and rest in that it's a luxury, it's something that, you know, it's a weakness perhaps, it's not necessary. And so I just find it interesting how we value rest, how we see rest, and how we're conditioned to see it.
There is another angle to it as well, and I guess it is how you define a stress.
Yes.
I did this whole a street interview, random people. I'm very, very interested in the topic of stress because I think that people have different strategies to cope with it. And I went out and asked people about their different, if you like, stressors, and how they cope with it. Interesting enough, the stressors, how did they define a stress, is totally different between different people. A person tells me that they felt stressed when their home country went to the war. They had to flee to come to the UK, lost on the way their mother, and arrived here in a total different environment, and they are trying to cope. And then another person's stress is about, I missed my yoga class. But I mean, the reality of the matter is the experience of the person is valid. I mean, from my perspective, the experience of the person is valid. So if they are stressed, they are stressed. Sometimes people define it something as like being more severe or more horrific. The impact, to me, depends on the person as how they define it. If you have been a person who defined a stress as something that anything outside your control is becoming your stressor, then it is a very difficult place to be in, even if you consider a stress as a motivator to growth. And as we were talking about how you are going to dance with it. Because if you feel that you are a helpless person and this whole thing out there that it is at you, then you don't have far to go. But to me, it is us being able to be much more, if you like, realistic with ourselves as how we are defining a stress. Is it really the way that I'm experiencing it? Am I putting a lot of value in that thing that it is out there? And how am I putting, I don't know, my priorities, assessing that? Is it going to help me to improve in a way, or is it something that I am going to be hands up and just suffer?
But it's something that can't be only filtered through the cognitive. It can't just be through the mind.
That's true.
Stress is a felt experience.
Yeah.
Stress is a physiological, there's a cocktail that happens inside of us. So it's not just through the context of what I'm thinking. It's what I'm feeling, it's what's happening in my system, physically, you know? So it's kind of, stress is defined as a non-specific, I like this definition that I learned when I did my stress management training at the BHI, which is affiliated with Harvard, and they just define it as a non-specific response, i.e. once the button is pressed, it's kind of the cascade is set off to a demand, end. So that demand can be positive. If you've got a deadline, it can be negative, or it can be neutral. But fundamentally, we need to understand what is the stress cascade. And it's not something that is only filtered through the mind, because the mind is limited. It's something that we have to understand from the body's perspective as well. It's how I breathe, how I move, how I discharge.
So those are the responses to me.
That is the stress response.
Yeah, those are the responses. Where I mean, how I am looking at it from stress perspective in terms of the definition. I do agree with you that it is not all cognitive.
No.
Meaning that it is not all what we think that we can somehow control. But I do still believe that there is a level of enhancing our capabilities as how we show up and how we respond in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And that bit is going to define if these two glasses, because we are video recording this, if these two glasses are not next to each other, am I going to be like...
But again, ask why. Ask why. What is triggering you? What is causing a response in you to ask whether these two glasses are not in line? What is this due to? And this is why you need a combination, you need a holistic approach. You need to think about, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And you need to recognize that we have a subconscious which is storing all of these patterns.
Yeah.
And if we don't know how to access it, whether it be through meditation, through breath work, through talking, through exercise, through there's a question here about community, through relationship, we don't know. So it's education first, so that we know what we are talking about, we know what we are dealing with, and then it's looking at previous trauma. Was it that you were beaten if this wasn't in line with this? You know, and so that's why it's a thing for you. But when we're just thinking to the surface and looking just at behaviors and just trying to modify behaviors at the surface level, we know it's not sustainable. We know it doesn't stick. You have to get to the somatic level. You have to get to the felt sense of it.
Yeah, I actually quite like what you said there in terms of when it comes to human behavior, you can never stay at the surface.
No, it's so, you know, you can have two behaviors, they look exactly the same, but they're coming from completely different places, with completely different motivations, completely different perceived protection, you know?
I did want to just add too, because I like that you brought up the breathing, the movement, the different things that you do. And yes, of course, it goes much deeper than that, but I wanted to just bring in something quite practical that when I'm coaching people about the small food habits and the small things they can build in or start adding to different meals, to try and also think about some mental health things and stress like that. That, okay, is there a 5-minute walk that you could do, that you could add in before you have your coffee break that might really help you? And if you do that every day, is that going to help? Are there apps, I use one, that cuts off your social media at a certain time? And you give yourself some time for scrolling, but you say, I know that when I do too much of that, that starts to stress me out. And so having these boundaries that we put in place every day, or movement, really, really helpful. Can I do a 5-minute YouTube video of exercise, even though I can't get to the gym that often? That's still going to help if I'm going to be consistent with it. So I think in terms of people building things into their everyday life, it doesn't have to be, I meditate for an hour every day. And meditation is not for everyone. There are so many other things that can relax you, help you manage stress, but it does have to be these habits built in. One time doing a walk is not going to be good enough if you can't build that into your life in a sustainable way.
Building it into what you do every day, isn't it?
Consistency trumps one-offs all the time. And what we know about the brain is that whether you do a tiny bit of something versus a lot of something, if that tiny bit is done consistently, then it sets up that neural pathway. So whether I exercise 90, like you said, exercising once a week versus for 60 minutes versus 1 minute every day, you become someone that I exercise every day. Then the length of time doesn't matter.
The language, the message you're sending to your brain.
Yeah, and the pathway is like, I am someone who exercises.
Every
How
day.
long? 1 minute. Okay, that's it. So for breath work, for example, I'm like, just connect to your breath. One breath. That's it.
Yeah.
One breath every day that you know you're breathing.
The reality is, we, as I think, in modern societies, we are becoming a bit of a perfectionist in a way. And so I mean, I am going to move away from lifestyle for a second, but it is relevant, bear with me. It's like I always have New Year resolution. I always have it regimentally. The reality of the matter is, it is not about how 100% of it, for me at least, I'm covering. It is next year, that time, when I look at it, how much I actually tried to move towards it that counts for me. And then it comes to what you were saying about I do it every day. So I was, there was very long time ago, it was actually when I was in NHS still, that I was not doing a lot of exercise, interestingly. And my resolution then was ensuring that I am at least walking 10,000 steps or whatever, 1 hour a day. And I was not even doing that. But I constantly put it out there, like I want to do it. And I started, like with 10 minutes, with just walks to the bus station. Maybe instead of this station, I go further down. Maybe I come out a bit like earlier so that I can walk a bit longer. Now I am someone who can walk, I can say that I walk every day for 90 minutes at least. And it's like, I am quite proud. Maybe it was like a very long journey to get to this point for me, but it's well worth it.
But you know your language, you said, I am someone who. So you're now shifting in terms of identity. So it's become, you know, the wave of momentum that we get with the new year. It's new, there's hope, and it's a wonderful wave. But we know, the stats, I think, by the beginning of February, everything's gone, is because we're not going into what is the science behind habit formation. And if we stick with small, tiny, inconsequential. So I would have been like, I walk 3 minutes a day. And so it's so nothing that you dismiss it. But I am someone who walks every day.
Yeah.
You don't need to be the 10,000 or whatever. I am someone who walks every day. I am someone who drinks a glass of water every day. So that we minimize it so much that it's so nothing, but it hits on that identity. Sorry.
Yeah, I do it with the chefs. So we got 186 16-year-olds every September, and they don't particularly, I don't like fish, or I don't like this, I don't like that, and you're like, no, you say, I will tolerate this, and that's what I start with. I will tolerate this, because they have to taste everything they make, and they won't taste some things. It's like, you have to. You don't work in a kitchen, you're going to have to. As simple as that. That's your mother that you're serving, or whoever you love, or your girlfriend, whoever it is. I said, so just when you cook, you're cooking for the most important person in your life, and that's the customer. You make it, and then you think about, when you taste it, you say, oh, okay, I tolerate this. And then by the second year, they're eating everything, and it's fine. Like, but you know, and they actually really do change how they think about things like that. Yeah, but that's that one little change thing I found.
And fish is such an umbrella term.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just on the New Year's resolutions, there's so many reasons why they fail, but also, again, in terms of the information a lot of people are getting, they think that what they have to do, they start from this place of, I'm going to cut everything out. Yeah. Often the place people start, instead of I'm going to add in, I'm going to start doing, I'm going to, what is this nice 80% of where I could improve and build something into my life. And then their body, sometimes in many cases, literally gets hungry because all they've done is cut foods out and they're not eating enough. Maybe their goal is to lose weight, but they're doing that just maybe how they're told on some social media channels. And that in itself is not going to be sustainable. And I think the other side I really want to talk about is enjoyment. If you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're having a punishing month, guess what? That's not going to last all year, because food is meant to be enjoyable, and we're more likely to keep up with our changes if we actually enjoy them. Pick the thing that helps manage your stress that you actually like doing as well. Some people really don't like socializing, but for me, it helps de-stress me. Some people say, I could never go and do some of the things you go and do to de-stress. Yeah. But guess what? You don't have to.
That was so nice.
Thank you. It was
Really nice.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
The textures and it's good, actually. The balance is really nice.
Have you chosen what question you want to go for?
Go ahead.
Sorry, if you could just put your partner on.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start this off. What's one uncomfortable truth about your field?
About your field.
Yeah. And for me, it would be the hospitality industry wastes 1.1 million tons of food per year. 1.1 million tons of food.
Ooh, have you got that as a percentage, as sort of as the amount of food that we have, and then what percentage of that is gone to waste?
Not off the top of my head.
I was just.
Well, I can't tell
I
you.
was just trying to get a visual. Okay.
Well, I can't tell you that
That is
70.
talking
Well,
with a professional who is not going to just give you a random number.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't know the answer, though, obviously we don't want to say it.
but 75%, 70% of that is usable. That's chucked. as well.
Okay.
That's a big part.
important.
What do you
And
do?
like that's
What do you do with
The
food?
value of it is 3.2 billion pounds
Wow.
of food.
That's huge.
So 2.4
So in your restaurant, what do you do with waste?
Well, we don't really try not to waste and try to use up everything that we have, and then the little bit that we have left. I mean, we'll compost at least, but you know, composting is not the answer because it's the whole journey of that food coming to your kitchen in the first place. So it's all about tasting menus. It's a very great way to save, because you know exactly what you're planning towards.
Thank you.
But you know, a lot of the problems are also come from being customer driven. You know, and then there's places like your football stadiums and stuff that are just crazy amount of waste after a match and ridiculous things that happen. That's going on.
You can't donate any food, like you can't.
You can donate some bits and pieces, but when it comes to regenning food and all, it has to be, you can't like have held it like, so for hot service, like when you think of football stadiums, probably shouldn't pick on them, but anyway, they might have all these, I don't actually eat at the football stadium when I go, but they'd have all the burgers and stuff, you know, probably pre-made and wrapped, whatever. They can't reuse them. They'd have to be consumed. They can't be cooled and used because they've been sitting there for too long. You can only use display. There's lots of, because it's to do with your bacteria growth. So there's a lot of stuff has to get wasted, if you like.
How would you
Don't make so
tackle?
much of
How
that.
would you tackle it? What
Just
would you
needs
do
to be-
differently?
Well, with things like that, that's a little bit of a bigger piece of work. But yeah, that'll be about just them taking an attitude. And I think customers understanding that when it's gone, maybe as well. Not worrying too much about it, like, and just having something else until everything is gone, and everyone just to change their perception a little bit. And I don't think most customers would be fine with that nowadays. I think we're getting to a place like that now. I'll just use them as an example. I've never really used them as an example before, but I suppose so better like planning in that sense.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I'm sure there's probably a lot more tech that can be helping with all that. I'm sure they're working on all that in the background anyway.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's one of the better things about tech, isn't it? is really driving a lot of change in that sort of world, especially with even with Lean. One of the companies I work with, LeanPath, they have an AI camera now over the stuff, so they can actually, when you weigh what you have, and we're actually making videos at the moment of how to then use up that surplus. So we'll show you what to do with that, how to get rid of that, and what's the best next step with that, and freeze down, do this, trim that off, make the stock from that, blah, blah, blah.
That not like every restaurant or like a small businesses.
Yeah,
How
smaller
can-
places would be.
Yeah,
much
how
advantage.
can they?
Yeah, just to be utilising a lot more of the plant, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of parts edible that we don't realise, and that gets chopped as well. And maybe again, they're afraid to use it up, thinking that customer mightn't like that or whatever. But you know, it's just thinking about how you can bring that, use it up.
That's such a cool question. What is your uncomfortable truth about your field?
Ooh, so depending on the industries that you're sort of adding up, that big wellness is worth more than big pharma. If you add up all the things that we buy, all the, you know, every product, the retreats, all the things in wellness, and obviously it does depend on how you're actually defining it, and you can go and find these figures as well. But I think a lot of people don't want to admit that. And again, this comes back to the first question. This isn't just about treatment and prevention, or it's not about dichotomizing and separating the wellness side, as it were, from the treatment or doctor side of things. And actually it all can work together. But I think, again, on what people are seeing on social media. There's a lot of myths about the pharmaceutical industry being evil, or the doctor side being, not trying to help you, not trying to help you recover, when actually, both sides, there's really good in both sides. But please do remember that there's a lot of wellness stuff that is also just trying to take your money, So, and just being aware of that and trying as hard as possible to follow evidence-based creators and not go in for the so viral things that we might see on social media that may not quite be giving you the truth.
So I tell you something, when I joined pharma, so I did, after my NHS years, I moved to clinical research within pharma. And I had one of my very good friends not talking to me for good few years. You sold your soul. And I am like, I'm still doing clinical research. But the truth about it is a commercially driven environment. I mean, yes, I do appreciate why people feel pharma is a total evil in the whole health service, because it is commercially driven. But on the flipping side, if that commercial savviness was not there, the investment on all of these research would have not come to life. I mean, the fact that we could move out of pandemic was thanks to pharma bringing in the actual vaccines at scale. Or, I mean, I just mentioned that to me, cancer these days is really a chronic condition. I remember when I was in med school, when we were talking someone having a melanoma, that was a death sentence. Like we knew that the prognosis is so bad. Like now you look at the survival-free like outcomes, and I think 10 years. And it is just phenomenal. That is 10 years more living for one person. So it is, I mean, I cannot move away from the fact that it is a commercial setting. But equally, I do not see myself like wholly devoted to pharma, because I absolutely love the health coaching and this side of enhancing health literacy. So this is another angle that I am trying to elaborate. But then the uncomfortable fact on this side is in reality, there are so many competing noise and false information moving around that no matter how you would want to communicate, it is lost in the noise. I read somewhere that these days censoring doesn't mean you cut something out. Censoring means you dilute it with false information or other information. That is totally different way of censoring.
And I think you're completely right. And you've got a love for both sides, and that's why we don't want to keep dividing them. Someone can be, two things can be true at the same time, that you are taking medication, and that's really important. And you're also looking at the health habits, the lifestyle, the food you're going to build in. These things.
Why do we have to choose?
Exactly, they exist in the same space, and we need to create more of that space and expand that space. And remember, there's commercially driven elements on both sides. People, you're constantly being sold something, and it's just being more realistic about that.
Yeah. What about you?
What was the question?
So what is the uncomfortable truth about your field?
There are a lot of wounded healers.
That was very loaded. I love it.
And in order to be able to hold space for someone, to heal someone, you need to do your own work. And I feel that in the medical profession, we don't. For a multitude of factors, but I think that if a system is to be designed for burnout, it would be the medical system. We spoke about shift work, and then you've got all these snacks around, and you've got all these expectations, and you've got all these demands, and you are not taught basic neuroscience in terms of how to regulate, how to have difficult conversations and not carry. And so a lot of doctors will compartmentalize and will have walls, but it's that. Because fundamentally we are exchanging nervous system energy, right?
That's true.
And if I'm not regulated and I'm trying to be of service and hold space and hear what you're saying and all of that, then that's going to affect the therapeutic relationship. So I think for my profession, it would be walking the talk. Is it walking the talk? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love for us to tend to ourselves so that we can tend to
Be
others.
kinder to ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can tend to others.
I love that. So, on that note, let me get you to the next question, because I think we talked about it a lot, like individually, about different factors. It's like how we are bringing food, the stress, busy life into, integrating all into each other to serve us better, if that makes sense, or to serve the public, the people better. Or we can even look at how we can bring all of them together to enhance our productivity, our performance. Open to know your thoughts.
I think I see a lot of different things going on with certain supermarket chains and that, bringing out these different ideas to get people to buy more fruit and vegetables and all. That's great. I don't think enough is put into how to use them, what ways to use them and things like that. And I think there's a lot about training people again, just those the skills that are required and really simple things that they can do, and again with one pan and all of that. There's some great, so much stuff out there, isn't there? And there's so much, but again, there's some misinformation there too. But there's some great things and so many different people. It'd be great to pool that all into one place, wouldn't it?
If you want to direct me into one place that I can learn more about, say, preparing easy, quick, good food at home, where would you direct me to?
Yeah, it's a culinary medicine website. But
What was that?
the culinary medicine website. Yeah.
Tell us, what is culinary medicine, actually?
Yeah, so what we do is we actually train healthcare professionals, and we train them how to bring it up in a consultation, how to bring that to the actual patient themselves, so the public, and then they can signpost them where there's resources, or they can download the resources and give it to them, or they can put it into their text thing, what's it called, Altilex or something, what do they call that text mechanism they have in the doctor's surgery. So it works with that. They can just stick it in there and send it out to all the patients if they wanted to. Yeah, so that's kind of it started out as a course that we started. We built 14 online modules, all written by different experts.
And people like members of public can access as
well?
well?
No, we kept it for healthcare professionals, and then what's happened is it's evolved into like a digital tool now.
Okay.
So just to be very clear, we are a social enterprise, community interest company, and we just wanted to try and get this onto every medical skills curriculum. However, that hasn't happened as much as we would like.
What is happening within medical schools?
Yeah, so we want to get the medical schools, all of them, to be doing it, to be teaching culinary medicine. Okay. Yeah, it is a concept that comes from the US. I brought it over to the UK. Dr. Rupi Ajula brought it over, Doctor's Kitchen, and then we made it more UK-centric. And because I was working on a similar kind of thing around curriculum with chefs and that's how we crossed paths, and then that's how and now we have Dr. Suma Brewer, who's the CEO, myself, and our dietetic lead. So the idea is it's become a bit of a toolkit now that doctors and medical professionals and nurses and everyone can access and use all the resources on it and that kind of thing. And we're building on that all the time. But what's really cool is teaching the medical students as well. So we're getting them so that when they go out into, I want to say industry, I'm not sure, out into GP land, and start doing those crazy shifts. But also we do actual module on self-care. So the way we've been talking about looking after yourselves and thinking about how, because again, I'll go back to my wife who works night shifts in the hospital and eats and all the snacks. My wife's quite well disciplined with that, but the snacks and even the whole thing where the patients are so lovely and they'll buy them all. They bring chocolates, biscuits.
But just
funny,
remember,
isn't it?
if you're on a night shift,
Yeah.
your cortisol levels are up. You are tired, and your body is
There's a lot
just
to
needing
say
some
that.
respite.
Satiety as
And
well.
so it's not gonna. And broccoli is not gonna do it.
No, exactly. Yeah,
It's just not going to do it. So when you see something that's convenient, that gives you that sugar spike, that gives you that energy, and that makes you feel good, and obviously that's designed to be lovely.
Yeah.
Of course you're not. And then that then.
They are actually
had
far
the
more
same-
delicious then.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a project at the moment with I was approached by I coach girls football as well, so I've been doing that since they were under 7, under 12 now. And Rachel Yankee approached me, who's like an ex-England, so if she was, bless her, if she was a man, she'd be like the Harry Kane of England football with girls. But girls football is where it is. It's getting there now, but back then she's the same age as me, so but she was in the World Cups and everything. And she was telling me stories of how they'd go to train and they'd stop at Burger King on the way back, but there is a lot about that. What's the word? Satiety or whatever, that satisfying thing of eating something after working out like that as well. I think there's a bit of an element, but again, this is what we're trying to make this sort of Saturday kitchen meets match of the day during the World Cup, and we're just going to do a little pilot of this, and we're going to do it in the kitchen at college. And she's going to get a few more girls footballers to come into it as well, and I'm going to get some of the students, and we're going to make some, like you're saying, snacky bars and stuff that are not ultra processed at the end of the day. And this is the thing, right? Convenience is king. Yeah. I always say to patients, when you're talking about eating well and everything else, like, look, if you're cooking it yourself, you're winning.
Yeah.
You're winning straight away.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing to remember. So just the fact that you made the effort to make something at home yourself for your family is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Don't overthink about it.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
I do want to say something about convenience, because what can sometimes happen is we can just divide, again, maybe social media does this a lot more, divide food into two. Anything that's in a packet or anything vaguely processed, that's bad for you. There are so many convenience foods that I help my clients with that actually elevate their lives. It may not be perfect, but we've all discussed we're not going for perfection, but there's some convenience foods that really, really help. So there are, I'm going to give some examples, packets of flavored lentils that you can just add to a salad that have, by the way, scary times, a long list of ingredients, but that's just things like lentils, herbs, spices, etc. So again, we need to...
So what are they? I have actually
you
not
get
seen
these,
them.
you get these pouches, and they have different flavors of beans. You might get some kind of mixed bean Mexican thing. You'll get chickpea curry. You can put these in your suitcase. So I was actually traveling this week at a conference, and people ask me as well. I'm going to be doing more talks on how to do this when traveling, so I do on-the-go stuff. Put some of that in your suitcase as well, and you can make a wrap with it in your hotel room. You're getting more fiber, you're building in beans. We know we all need to be building in a bit more of that.
Like cook food with it, or you can have it as
So
a
it's
snack.
already flavored, so you can heat it up in the microwave, put it in a sandwich, put it on a salad. It's flavored.
Easy.
Exactly. So there are these convenience things like curry pastes and sauces. Those things, yes, exactly. They're helpful. There are so many convenience foods that I use. And so you are still cooking at home, but it is, I just want to remind everyone who's watching, that it is totally okay not to cook every single thing from scratch. And it's also this place of, because I've spoken to a lot of people who feel this, where they say, but I was worried to use that because surely if that's pre-made, it's not healthy.
We talked about tinned and frozen.
It's all, exactly, all these convenience foods that help elevate what you're already doing. And it's also about, well, what might you have done instead? You didn't have time to do anything from scratch, so you may have ended up just getting a takeaway pizza. Now you've actually got an amazing wholesome meal, but it might be made up of convenience components, and you've done a bit of cooking, and that's absolutely fine as well.
Mix and match. Yeah.
That is interesting. I mean, I am Iranian by background. As an Iranian, for me, once you have a bag of nuts in your bag, you are sorted. Like pistachio, almond, walnut. This is like go-to with no fail. So my friends know me whenever we go on any holiday trips or any business trip, I definitely have my bag of nuts. Same.
Nuts, dark chocolate,
Dark chocolate as well.
some fruit, some dips, some tahini butter.
Your suitcase is big.
The other one that I love to add in, I actually have a...
See, and there's pre-lentils. I like those
Yeah,
packs
yeah,
of
yeah,
things. And there's so much stuff that you can, it's kind of also just thinking outside the box and just being like, oh, I can put pomegranate on everything. Oh, I can put microgreens on everything. Or, it's just that kind of, I think it's around the education, but just thinking, what can I make in under 5 minutes? What can I make under 10 minutes? And just going with where are you at right now? And that the aim is not to be here, it's just literally just progress. For some of the time, and then you build on that and you build on that, and yeah.
I think it's also building on what you already know.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're trying to make changes, one place I love to start people is avocado on toast. A lot of people like avocado on toast. I'm like, okay, could you mash or blend some edamame beans into the avocado for more fiber, more protein, some garlic, some lime, bit of salt and pepper. We're getting a more balanced meal. Or we can add some tomatoes to that. And that means they're taking something that's quite familiar, and the habit's more likely to form if we're building on something familiar that they think, actually, I can start doing that from tomorrow because I do often have avocado on toast for breakfast or lunch. Yeah. And they actually enjoy it, and they've just made that progress, like you said.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes people, I have heard a lot, at least like people who I coach, sometimes talk about the cost of food.
I have a question on that.
Very, very expensive. Oh,
Yes, let me ask you the question. Healthy eating is expensive. True, false, or incomplete?
Incomplete, I would say, definitely incomplete.
Tell us
because I do appreciate that certain food types can be much more pricier. I do appreciate that. But I do appreciate that the type of food that we are talking about is accessible. I can tell you that at least for our household, where I buy my vegetables and like fruits that are coming from mainly the market in the high road, which is practically I actually quite like it because it feels like it is more like farm to customer base. Like maybe I am having that link wrong, but hey, I feel that it is much more accessible. At least it is not packaged forever in a supermarket somewhere. It is at least open. Or I may be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Because it might have been packaged and opened. I don't know. But I heard somewhere that like some of the packaged foods can be staying packaged for 18 months. Like I don't want to have an apple that has been there. Oh my God, I don't want that.
No.
So
there's a lot now here with this conversation about affordability and accessibility and things like that, and quality ingredients as well. So, where is it coming from? And I don't know, I have to shop, in our household, I've got 3 grown-up kids, well, teenagers kind of age, and they eat a lot of food. But I won't buy fruit, and I shop in Lidl to get certain things and everything, but I can't buy fruit in Lidl because it's completely tasteless. It's completely tasteless. And the same in probably shouldn't name. I don't know. The same in Tesco. And I literally will do a little market, just a local market, and I probably somewhere. But anything we order, see, in the industry, right? Just to give you an example, maybe all the stuff will come straight from market for us, and there's such a difference. Like if I get sassumas and work, like they're gorgeous, like, and they're full of flavour, and they're not more expensive.
where
they're probably
do they
cheaper.
source it from?
They're coming just from the main market, like where it's all coming together. But so the supermarkets obviously have a different supply chain. Yeah. So even like in Victoria, there's a guy that obviously gets all the fruit that's nearly gone for free, I reckon, or he buys it all for 100 quid or whatever, parks his van and sells all the stuff to everyone. He's selling grapes like a pound.
Nice.
Yeah, and like all these, I buy the stuff off him on the way home.
So are you
too.
telling us that we are
Again,
actually buying from wrong places?
Yeah, I tell you, it's really hard, but it's convenience again, isn't it? It's like getting the shop online and all. I'm like, I have to go down. Like I literally have to stop on the way back from football training on a Saturday, go into the where all the market stalls are in the middle of the shopping centre place. I go and grab all the bits for the week, and then I'll come back, or I'll order and work sometimes. But yeah, I try to make that a habit and a thing that I because there's no point even, no matter what. And sometimes I'm like, oh, they'll be all right. I'll just get 2 packs of Jaffa oranges or whatever, and then you just end up throwing them out. You don't eat them in the end. Like, they're just, it's useless. So yeah, it's a big problem, that I think the whole flavour of you notice it with fruit more than you do with vegetables, I think, probably as well. Yeah, I think you do, because you're eating a fruit.
Well, I had apples, and that is where I realized that apples can have been like they could have been in the supermarket forever before we buy. So I washed the apples, and I felt that it is very glossy, like. And then I attempted to wash it with foam to clean it, because it was very like greasy and like glossy. It was very...
Sometimes they add wax to them.
Wax? It was wax.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I am actually having wax.
Crazy. Scary.
And that also fits in with food waste, doesn't it? That consumers have been trained to expect a certain look of things as well. And this is a huge problem. Yeah, shape, exactly. And people might also be taken in, thinking about how things look, that with the cost of some foods, that you don't always have to go for the thing that seems the shiniest. So some people think, how am I going to be healthy if I can't afford organic everything? You don't have to eat organic to be healthy. And I've known some people who said, well, I'm not going to eat any fruit because I can't afford the organic fruit. And then they just stop eating fruit. Yeah. You don't have to do that. You don't have to buy the specially elevated branded versions of things. You can buy the supermarket brand, go for the cheaper tin of beans. Of course, I'm not saying this solves every single problem in terms of cost of living. There are people who are using food banks and are in very difficult positions. But something being expensive does not necessarily equal better for you.
That is exactly my point.
It's incomplete.
It is incomplete. Expensive
yes.
doesn't mean that it is exactly the healthy food.
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
What are your takes on it? You asked the question.
No, I think, I'm originally Moroccan, and I refuse to eat oranges in this country. Because when you know what an orange or a tomato is meant to taste like, and then you try it from a supermarket, I'd rather go without, in all honesty. But in answer to, so we have a local farmer's market. Love, because you see what a vegetable is meant to look like. Yeah. The carrots have their long, so everything is just how it's meant to be. The fennel can be huge. It's incredible. The other thing that I've done in the past is get those boxes. The either Oddbox or Abel and Cole, Riverford, and that's a really nice way of just eating seasonally and just kind of getting creative with what you have. But yeah, I think it just comes down to where are you now, and what is the next step? We don't have to aim for perfection. If you're someone that doesn't eat fruit, then you just eat whatever fruit you can, and then you start, from there. So it's in the context of everything.
Wonky veg thing is really frustrating. You're seeing a bit of it coming into the shops now, in the supermarkets a little bit, but not as much as I thought. And the same with plastic on the bags on the stuff is still happening. But have you heard of Ample?
No.
Ample.
So Ample what they're doing is taking all the surplus wonky veg from all the farms across the UK and putting them into making sauces. What their plan is to make sauces and all, and then supply the sauces into the supply chains in public sector catering, from a food waste point of view, because it'd be quite good for sustainability, so it's not getting wasted. But they waste loads. I'm not sure what their numbers are, but yeah.
But it is perception as well. We are having, to me, very tasty food, and it is like, if you look at the ingredients, they are not something that you wouldn't see, or it is not accessible. Like, this was just aubergine and garlic and tomato, practically.
It's so delicious, and that's where one of the barriers is that some of these foods are very cheap. Many vegetables, beans, etc. But if you don't have the knowledge of how to turn them into something tasty, you might say, well, look, I don't want to eat that. That doesn't fit with my life. So that's why it's this whole system that we need to be looking at, because of course, these are the foods we want people to eat more of, that we're not eating enough of. But I completely accept. I was brought up cooking. I started cooking from when I was 7 years old, and I also love cooking. I ran a recipe website as well.
I actually
years
love
ago.
eating more than cooking.
No, exactly. I think I do as well. Let's make that clear. But we do have that knowledge that means that I'm not saying I could replicate it like this, because this is amazing, but I could go and try and do that tomorrow and would probably have relatively easy time doing it. Someone else may not even know where to start with doing that. I may say that sounds way too scary for me.
Great stuff. I mean, even the previous one we had, it was practically what? It was just beetroot and yogurt.
Loved it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I am going to try and make this.
Was
I don't know
was
if I'll
the
get it.
aubergine smoked?
It was. It is.
And how do you smoke, like on the fire? Do you on the flame, or is it you burn it and then yeah? We have a similar in Morocco. The aubergine dip, yeah.
Yeah. But the original version of this includes egg.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have it. It's actually very, very similar to the Moroccan one.
Yeah.
A bit more tomatoey. It's like things like broad beans and artichoke, Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us till now. I hope that you have enjoyed the first part of the show, and before you see the rest of the show and the main meal being served, I thought it is a good moment to pause, acknowledge and appreciate the generosity and hospitality that RNH Cafe Gallery put at display with Persian flavored cuisine. And that is what exactly I like to do. If you have the passion to show how your tradition or your culture of food can play a role in a healthier lifestyle, please drop me an email and we can collaborate. One more thing. I believe how we view ourselves is of little consequence, but how you perceive us is of utmost importance. So please leave your comments, communicate with us what resonated with you and what you would like to see in the next episode being discussed. On that note, let's go back to the show and hope you enjoy it. So I guess for the next two, if I'm not wrong, for Adas Polo and Albalu Polo. So we are going to go with the very much Persian style feeding. So if you are coming to my house, you would not have plate by plate food. You will have you have everything in front of you. The table is set, and then we are sharing foods, and we take as much as we want in our own plates. So we thought that it is a good idea to, not like me, the chef, to combine the two mains so that you can have different flavors.
So we can try more things.
Yeah. Do you have another favorite question to go for?
Yeah, so although it's probably touching on, you were saying you were cooking since you were 7 years of age, is that who influenced your approach to health growing up then, I guess? And that probably is going to be similar for many of us, is it? I mean, I'll kick it off with, for me, I guess be my mum really, true food, nourishment, true food, to be honest. Not a very, I would like to think I do a lot more fitness-wise these days compared to when I was growing up. I didn't have a sporty family as such. Well, my family's very sporty. My kids and stuff all very into sports, and we all are. But yes, so I would say it'd be my mother probably from a food point of view was the health for me in that one. Yeah.
So my family, I come from a mixed ethnicity family. My mum is from the Bahamas. My dad's family is from here. Food was always is a big part of enjoyment. If you come round to my house, you'll roll out the door. You know, you can't leave hungry. Well, that's not a thing.
I like that.
Roll out the door. Yes, you will roll out the door. That's you have no choice in that. So that really influenced me because food was always something that had to be really, really enjoyed. But when I was 15, I never really cared about health until I was 15. And I actually went into very extreme restriction and very extreme exercise, and then I ended up with a binge eating disorder. And when I was when I got to about 17, that was when I hit a complete mental and physical collapse. And that's when I started learning, okay, this is not helping me. It can't be extreme. I need to find, literally my question was, I said, you have to find a way to live. And that's what got me into looking at health, looking at how I could build things in, looking at how I didn't have to be perfect, because that was not working at all. And so that experience was a big part of what got me to where I am as well. And then of course having the family and the culture and that love for food sent me on this journey as well of, well, let's make health interesting and tasty and fun, and let's, you know, travel and try wonderful food as well. And that's what brings a lot of my passion for, you know, when I'm helping people to improve their health, improve their performance, it's let's make it enjoyable and fun. What's your culture? I love working with people from different cultures because we can say, well, let's adapt the food that you have, that you love, and we can adapt it to be better for your health, better for the environment without changing the essence.
Yeah, it's very important. Changing the cultures, isn't it? It's so interesting, all the different cultures and the different ways everyone does food. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So much connection, cultural connections through food. Yeah.
What about you?
Same. So I grew up Mediterranean, Moroccan. Food is life. Food is community. Food is connection. Food, you know, you're happy, you eat. You're sad, you eat. It's like, it's a central, everything. It's a central pillar to everything, to the society, to family. And it's got a real ritual to it. A real etiquette, and it's seasonal, so it just brings, it's just so central. So that has kind of distilled and hanging on to these beautiful cultural traditions and everything. And so, you know, and also my grandfather had a huge farm. And so you could see, you know, like they would take time to prepare things from scratch. And you're like, oh, how do you make couscous? How do you make this? And it's like, and the olives, they used to, I remember when we used to go for summer holidays, the whole balcony would be like covered in olives as they were drying.
Wow, yeah.
And you know these things, and you just think, so you know what is coming from where. The raw almonds, what dates look like when they're not dry, like fresh dates, and everything associated. So yeah, so in case you hadn't noticed, we love to eat, but I think what we've lost is the kind of slow down and the savoring part.
The savoring part, and I think that the process itself. So the same as you. I mean, I think my role, if you like, role model in the preparation of the food and everything is my grandma, and she used to do everything from scratch. So the tomato paste that we were using, she would have dedicated maybe 2 days to prepare for the whole family, meaning all of her daughters who got married basically, and like they had their own places, but she would prepare like the bringing tomatoes in, and like I remember the whole ritual, and it had become like a process to bring the family together around food or around doing something with food. But I think one thing for me is the meal timing. Yeah. And in our house, my dad was very regimental around breakfast. So if you ask me, what is your favorite meal? Or what is your favorite food, I would tell you what I have for breakfast, because from his perspective, breakfast is when everyone is fresh, they hopefully had rest. If we are getting up on time, we are not rushed. We can sit and enjoy food and talk. So there was a lot of talking, because we arrived at different timing when we go out for the work or university or what have you. So there are different timings. And then we would arrive and we are hungry, and we are not like happy to wait. And so that would not have counted for anything. The other thing is, from his perspective, he wanted us to be very much in the upper mood, like upbeat. So making everything so funny. In the morning, we were like just laughing out loud. Going out, no matter what is happening in the outside world, we had our laughs. The portion of laugh was served. So it is just bringing happy memories. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So what is this?
So it is a Persian albalu polo. Albalu is sour cherry.
Okay.
Polo is rice. So practically it is sour cherry and rice. But it is served normally with chicken. Here we are serving it with mushroom. And on the top you have the pistachio. I mean, you can never ever call a meal Persian unless you have either pistachio or pomegranate or barberry. So these three things, if they are there, they are Persian. And saffron. 4. Then the bit that is crispy, it's practically, you can notice that as I am describing it, I am like, saliva is like, yes. So that is the most delicious, killed over for part of the meal. So if you go to a Persian household and you are served food, they do not serve the crispy bit. The crispy bit is always served separately because it is supposed to go around so everyone get the chance to have a bite. Because if it is served like that, you may have all of it and I won't have any.
Well, I mean, nothing I can do about that.
So that is the whole notion of just making sure that everyone gets it. And the funny thing is, I always have my one and put it on the side because it is tasty. So I have it like as my last bite so that I can have the taste left in my mouth. Now this one is adas polo. So adas is lentil, polo is rice. So it is adas polo. And practically speaking, everything else you are saying is date and
These are cherries or dates?
dates. That is date.
And so to make something like that, you have to put the dates in the bottom of the pan. Do you cook some of the rice first? I mean, how is...
No, you put this, you have a pot.
Yes.
You go first with your, I'm not the best
Okay.
cook. She's a chef, so she can tell you about.
Switching over there.
The way that we do rice is we cook the rice with water and then we rinse the water. And then, so the rice would be, it's not in water anymore. And then I can manage the bottom of the pan. I put the rice back.
The rice
in the
is
pan.
cooked, and
So
then,
you
and then
boil
we
the
do
rice?
this.
It's
Half
half cooked. And then you manage your whatever you like. You can put it on as a tadik, as a bottom of the pan, and then as a base, and then you put your rice back, and then it's steam cooked.
What kind of this is gonna. What kind of pot do you use?
Very non-stick one, I'd say.
Well, anti-non-stick, huh? You have to be non-stick, yeah, because of the...
For this, yes. To get this effect, it's not going to work on a...
I love rice. Love rice.
And then usually the adas polo served with the minced meat, but that is soybeans. And I mix it with the raisin and then with the dates as well. So.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
So go ahead, you try this first, and you guys.
Try some of this first?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Oh, wow, okay. And this one is the same bread that we had before. That
Different
you use
type
a
of
different
bread.
type of bread. Yeah. What's the type of bread would this be?
It's the same
It's the
bread.
same? Oh, okay.
Don't touch me.
Okay.
Don't rely on my answers, my dear.
I love these mushrooms as well. They've got like a really meaty texture. These king oyster mushrooms. There we go.
So while you're doing that, what wellness trend I will do that. You serve yourself. Thank you. What wellness trend do you disagree with?
Oh, there's a current one that's called, I don't even know quite enough about it, but it's, it's not great. It's looks maxing. There's this maxing everything at the moment. And it's, instead of, again, focusing on what are all of the things encompassing that we want to kind of build into our life in a small way, it was protein maxing, then came fiber maxing. Now, there were some good things about fiber maxing in that we needed to eat more fiber. But again, it made it into a trend instead of something that people can just build into their lives. And, for some people, building in too much fiber too quickly was not necessarily going to end well. So there were problems with that trend as well. And then there's this looks maxing trend. And, a huge reason I have a problem with that is how you look doesn't necessarily equal to health at all. But also, again, it's putting so much focus on current beauty standards instead of people actually doing what they need to get healthier, do something sustainable. And I think it can be quite dangerous. I think there are some dangerous stories about looks maxing. That doesn't mean you can't strive to want to look your best, but this idea that we should be maximizing in some way how we look like it's a product can be very, very dangerous. And the beauty in all of us is that we do look so different, and there isn't just one formation of what a human is, and that's something that we should celebrate as opposed to be given standards about it. I think it's very damaging mentally for a lot of people.
I never heard of that before.
Maxing everything, yes.
Maxing. Okay.
Struggling with cutting the...
Oh, you want to be fair?
Yeah, I do. I don't want to be hunted down.
What are some of the trends that you see that you think are damaging?
To be quite frank, this is the maxing thing that you are saying. It is very uncomfortable when you go to a supermarket and to buy something, and suddenly everything, no exception, has protein in it. And it's like, what the hell? Everything, practically with a very big
Even things that had protein before, but now they're just pointing it out,
Yes.
Yeah.
I do not understand that. And I was like, yes, it is good to have protein, but I'd rather you get your protein from natural sources. And not being, to me, we talked about it just earlier, that's like going into any direction of the extreme to me is wrong. Yes, protein is good for you, but cool down. I think it is becoming like a marketing strategy rather than like a health strategy. To me, I'm happy with the health strategy side of it. But when it comes becoming a marketing strategy to ensure that the consumer has choice, like choosing anything that has more protein in it so that it's going to go faster, that is a bit that I am uncomfortable with.
I would say vegan junk food is the thing for me. It drives me mad. It's the vegan junk
How do you
food.
define vegan junk food?
Just all the processed things that are just claiming just to be like all your processed bars and everything, just claiming to be vegan this, vegan that. And that. For a while there, I think it's probably relaxed a little bit more now, but when it first was on more trend, I suppose, there was so much of it knocking about. And then you have your vegan burgers and the amount of processed stuff on them. Some of the stuff is terrible. There's some good stuff, and they can make great stuff, but there's a lot of processed gear on some of the things.
It is, a lot of it is worse. It's junk food.
Maybe the thing that we want to say is just because something is saying vegan, that doesn't qualify it as healthy.
Yes. I think it is important to point out that, yes, of course, just because it's got that label doesn't make it healthy, but also something being processed or ultra processed also doesn't make it unhealthy.
Ultra processed foods labeling themselves that way.
But if we look at, some people label loads of things vegan junk food. So if you look at some vegan burgers, for example, they are, in a lot of cases, lower saturated fat than the meat burgers. They have protein in, they have fiber in, they're low sugar. And, for some people, as a part of their nutrition, it really is not that bad. And it depends what you're comparing it to. You know, saying something, we can't say that's good, that's bad. It's, well, what is the place that has in someone's diet? Is it better, yes, to have tofu, beans, all of those sorts of things in terms of a protein, but in terms of ultra-processed foods that fall into a category where we see, actually, they might be neutral or they might have some benefits compared to other things, are things like plant-based milks, plant-based meats, some supermarket breads, some supermarket cereals. They're not the same as ultra-processed biscuits that are low protein, low fiber, high sugar, hyper-palatable, not satiating. It is a spectrum when it comes to ultra-processed foods.
And I think you are touching on a very nice point around when we are talking about this aspect. I mean, I think most people are looking at things and want to put it in buckets very quickly. If we want to, if you want to tell me, Hosnieh, if you want to avoid one thing about all these things that may have had a categorized as vegan, what one thing that I need to be conscious of or look out for that might not put it in the healthy category?
What would I mean, I don't think we necessarily need to separate vegan from other diets here, you know, that in the sense that we all need to be eating more whole foods, more beans, more vegetables, etc. The things that are definitely not in the health category, but you can still have some in your life, would be things like the cakes and biscuits in the supermarket. Like, but I don't think anyone looks at that and thinks that's healthy.
No, I think all of us agree on the ultra-processed food in terms of variety of different, if you like, marketed goods that have variety.
It's there for a reason though too, is because of to make a shelf stable. I did used to teach food science at college, like, and you know, everything is brought in there to stabilize, to you know, to keep it on the shelf long, so it just can't go in the fridge. It's so expensive to stock things in the fridge in the supermarket as well. And we are probably, we probably made that world a little bit because of the rush to need so much food as people, and culture, and where everything changed, and just we all got busy lives and all that. But the demand was there to grow more, to grow quicker, to do everything quicker, and we kind of made this food system that is. So when we say the food system is broken, I think we kind of created that food system in the first place, which was wrong of us, but you know, but it doesn't work properly and it needs to be fixed for sure. And yeah, I always say that like things are processed for a reason though, and that's what makes them cheap as well. It makes them accessible and affordable for people too.
I have a friend who works for Nestle, and she said that they wanted to bring in a product that they are not going to add any additive to it. The shelf life would not be more than 10 days. So, and the supply chain that they do have that is operating internationally is already more than 2 weeks. So practically they cannot bring in anything that doesn't have any additives.
So we tried to make I tried to make a fortified ice cream, thinking this would be great now for culinary medicine, having this fortified ice cream idea with extra fibre and some more protein. And I remember this a few years ago. And we looked at it doing that and everything else, and getting into the NHS supply chain and all. And big problem, because just to ship it, even if you kept it frozen, it needs to have xanthan gum in it to keep it stabilised. There's no way, we couldn't do it. It was impossible. It just became impossible. And so expensive.
But that convenience serves people quite well sometimes. It may not make a food perfect, but again, we don't want perfection. But if it allows people to quickly make a healthy meal that, you know, maybe more in the 80-20 category, then we have that convenience. But of course, we want people to learn more how to use more fresh ingredients, how to put those things in the freezer when they've made them. There's all of these other things that we want people to be doing.
Yeah, but it's not practical either. And it's not.
It's
I know
not.
it's not.
Totally.
Sorry if I might have misused that to you before. Like, I mean, I love all them pouches and everything like that. And I'm a big advocate for like mixing and matching. Because like I would say, like roasted chicken at home, that's easy. Put chicken in the oven. You don't really have to do a whole lot more than that if you're eating chicken, for example, at the family, and then you just get all the side parts, and you could get those pouches and things like that, and then just make a lovely meal out of that, and just have a few bit bok choy or something in there, and spinach or whatever. But so there is that mix and matching thing is great, like it really does, because no one has time. None of us have time. It's really hard, and especially when you have family and two parents are working, and you know, people can understand why people are going to ready-made meals and things. But I was more talking about ready-made meals as well, where I was going.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
But
Yeah.
you know, if you have to buy a jar of sauce, but fry the vegetables, throw the jar of sauce in, and then you have then you have to do it that way. You do it that way then. But yeah, just a happy medium or a happy place.
I have a question.
Go for it.
I'd love to hear your answers. What belief did you strongly hold? I think that can be at any point in your life that you don't hold now.
For me, it was always the all or nothing. The kind of, it's one way or the other. There was always a wagon that I was on, either on or off, whether it be in any dimension of life. And so I think for me now is everything is welcome. Everything is part of the conversation. Multiple truths can be there. And that there's no more wagon. So it's not I'm either healthy or unhealthy. I'm either productive or unproductive. It's less black or white. So yes, that would be something that is a lot more empowering, a lot more freeing. There's a lot less labeling. And yeah, it's more joyful and fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, when I was in Ireland before I came in the UK about 13 years.
Back in Ireland?
Dublin. And I did actually I was very driven as a chef, and me and my wife, and we started up our own places, and we started trying to build these cafe bar bistro style places, because there's no chains in Ireland. Well, there is now, but it wasn't back then. And so I was trying to build a brand of a gastropub brand, basically. We were making a lot of money, doing great. I was so driven to be rich, if you like, because I never had anything growing up, and I wanted this thing so much. And what happened was, though, the recession hit. We started buying our own places and doing up these places into, we won these cafe bar licenses and all. And so we ended up losing everything. Actually came to the UK to go bankrupt. That's why we came here in the first place, and actually settled down, ended up in a completely different thing. I made a very big decision that my belief then was to change, and I changed myself completely and said, I'm not living my life that way. And I said, I want to work Monday to Friday. I said, I don't want to work weekends, don't want to work nights, what can I do? And I've worked for a charity for a bit with people from coming out of prisons and heroin addicts and stuff like that. Tried to recuperate them and get them into, I used to train to be chefs down where I live, down in Sussex. And then I decided that I really liked the teaching, got into lecturing, started working at the college, and it's been a godsend. I absolutely loved the teaching, loved the lecturing. The value I got in it, wasn't making loads of money, but making enough money. And my whole life changed, like completely. My whole belief system has changed. My whole kind of just wanting to, get young people to do well for themselves, and that's not everything. And yeah, so I think my one would be that I used to think that success was going to be not success, money was the success, but it's not. It's life is the success, as we all know. But yeah, way more comfortable with my life. I got to see all my kids growing up really well as well, all them years that I would have missed otherwise. I got to spend so much time. I get like 10 weeks off a year. Like, it's great. Academic calendar. And if I do need to make extra money, I was able to, as a skillful chef, which is a great thing. And I always tell the chefs in training this, it's an amazing skill. It's a great skill to have, and you'll never be out of work. You can always get a job. You can always do a dinner. There's always things you can do to make extra money, which I did. And then I fell into kind of the whole nutritional space, and culinary medicine is kind of my little side gig, if you like, that helped me get through all of that. And yeah, it's good.
What about yourself?
Oh, the same as you, for sure. Like, of course, I used to think that's how I got into where I am now. I thought it had to be deep restriction, and that, this idea, and I hear some clients say it, and I have to sort of row back and talk about the language. I undid my good work because I ate the piece of cake. I'm like, hold on a second, the broccoli hasn't magically come out of your body. because you ate the cake. That nothing's been undone. You still did the workout, even if you had that. So it's moving away from that and all that guilt around that. That's one belief. And then I think another belief many years ago was, nutrition and lifestyle can solve everything. And that obviously just isn't true. There's this interaction that we're talking about. And I wish it could solve everything, but it doesn't. But I think it's amazing that we're having these discussions now and that so many people are working in a cross section of the two fields of medicine and the lifestyle side to give people better outcomes. But it's so easy to think, no, it can all just be done one way. And so this is why I also love this discussion, because it speaks to that as well.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, for me, it was, I thought naively that all of us are living in the same world. But we are not. I mean, we are living in parallel worlds. We are having our own different lived experiences that gets translated into how we behave and how we are interacting with each other, how we show up, how we present ourselves to others, how we are interacting, etc. The moment that I adopted the vision, the view that we are all living in parallel worlds, in your parallel world, the behavior that you are doing is totally justified, the behavior that, the decisions that you have made, you have reasons to make the decisions, and that is having its own place. And for me, this is what I have experienced and how I have made the decisions, and those are equally correct. They may oppose each other in a way from outside, but if you look at it, all of us have justifications made into the decisions made based on our own lived experiences. And I think that sometimes, I mean, more often than not, we are in a judgmental mode, specifically healthcare professionals sometimes. It's like the person doesn't put a lot of, like I talked about agency. I like for people to have more of agency over their health, but equally it shouldn't be just the expectation, because what they are going through is different from their snapshot of that moment that you meet them. And it is important to meet at the same point, if that makes sense. You need to be at the same plateau. So from my own sanity, I cannot remember what triggered it, but since I have adopted these parallel worlds, everyone is cool. All the decisions are cool. It is just how I can maybe come to your parallel world to show a bit of mine and then go back and let you decide how you would want to experience the rest of the journey that you've got. So that is how I am looking at it. It makes it much more easier to understand people. And sometimes, to me, people just like to be understood. That is the base.
That's a basic
They just want to be seen and to be understood.
I think some of that also links to what we were talking about, connection and community, those other things that are so good for us that we can get really caught up in, what food should I be having? What are these things I should be doing? And then we forget that part as well, where it's like, am I being seen? Am I being, held? All of those sorts of things. And I think it was nice when we were all talking before. I think I didn't mention this, but the same as you, had experiences of sitting around the dinner table with family and, eating in a certain way and actually feeling those connections and understanding each other as well. And it's such an important part of our health, but we don't talk about that side enough. We say, well, as long as I'm eating the right food, it's fine. And of course, yeah, great, eat the healthy food, wonderful. But how are you eating that? Is that also causing you unnecessary stress? Are you savoring it? Are you enjoying it? Is it an experience that's actually lighting up your day because of these sorts of interactions?
I do that with my students as well. They think I'm very quirky. I do that. You know, the Sultana one. Mindful eating thing. And roll the Sultana.
Yeah,
It's great
yes,
though.
beautiful.
16-year-olds, and it's great fun teaching them young people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, chef, I see what you mean actually." It's quite funny though. Just think a little bit more about what you're to taste things, understand. But yeah, it's so important, and they're not doing that. You know, people are not doing that these days. It's not happening. Sitting around.
It is very interesting. There was this chef,
screens and
talking about
Screens
the
are big.
different senses that impact the way you perceive your food. So, for example, if you don't see it, so the vision, so when you look at it, if it is presented in a good way, you have a different feel about that food. The smell of it, the taste of it, if there are sounds around, and it's like those sounds, are they pleasant, unpleasant, alarming, not alarming? But the elements that I love is the emotion. What is the emotion when you are actually experiencing it? And I was like, in Lifestyle, we talk a lot about connection and like talking and being connected with others. And it is really missing from the modern life to enjoy the food in connection and like during a connection with someone else. I can for one say that my like working days, I just eat food to stay alive because I just munch to have something in my body. But I absolutely love my time off, like weekend, where I have opportunity that everything goes away. I am sitting in front of a loved one and we just enjoy food, talk, maybe agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. It is just being able to actually talk and share opinions and like come from different angles. And it totally gives me another experience of the food.
And you're so right that it doesn't have to be every meal, because I talk about this as well, you know, slowing the eating down and having food with others. You don't have to do that for every, because again, it's the perfectionist mindset that people get pushy. Yes, but I don't have time to do it all the time. Okay, can you do it a few evenings a week? Say you've got a partner and you're not always there in the evenings together. Fine. Can you say, look, we'll do this twice a week. We'll actually put that in. And then maybe that starts becoming more. You start going, actually, this is quite nice. Or even just that small habit. When I encourage people, do you watch TV when you eat? Now, again, this doesn't mean you should never watch TV when you eat. But if you're with someone, that's a great opportunity to do that. Or when you're on your own, to have some quiet time and then say, look, I'm going to watch the TV after I've eaten. But again, if you put this rule in, I'm never allowed to watch TV when I eat, people aren't even going to start that habit, because they're going to go, I'll do that later. I've heard I should do that. I'll do that later. You can say, okay, let me have a go at that, see what that's like. Or actually, I do have a friend around. Okay, great opportunity to switch the TV off. And I sometimes call it playing. So when I'm getting my clients to slow down the eating, I'm like, look, you don't have to eat like me. There's no rules exact around this. But I say, play with it. Have a go at slowing it down, tasting it more, see how it feels. And just play with those
And then,
ideas,
interesting
you
enough,
know?
you eat less.
And then you know, it can help with that, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
you feel full, quicker when you actually take time to eat food.
Yes.
Where you have it, it's like, no, it is not. I'm not full. I still need more. And then suddenly, with the delay, you realize that actually you have overeaten.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you actually enjoy it more. So when you stop, and I'm really glad you mentioned the Sultana exercise. I do that with a piece of fruit.
So how do you do that? Like,
So
for
you,
people who may
I mean,
not
I think
know?
it's done in, it's savouring it, but it's amazing with a Sultana because it's so small. But it's getting people, and it's not saying you're going to do this with every item, but it's giving people a different perspective on food. So say you do it with a piece of fruit. You can say, right, choose any piece of fruit. And you start by touching the fruit. And most people go, I've never thought about what an apple actually feels like, what an orange feels like. Right, smell it before you eat it. And that smells apple-y. But I've never really thought about that. And then even when you're biting into the apple, I'm like, afterwards I get them to tell me, how did that feel? as well. And this, I felt the juices going, and it's just a different experience. And of course, it's an example. It's not saying you have to now eat an apple like this at all, but it's getting people to realize there's flavors they probably missed. Like, actually, probably I'm not tasting my food properly, am I? Actually, I might enjoy my food more if I slow down. And it's just building that awareness, but also in a fun way, because it is a fun exercise. I'm sure, you said it's hilarious teaching, certain kids how to eat a sultana really slowly. It does bring laughs. It does bring even more connection. And that it's this playfulness as well, that it doesn't all have to be
Well, I think
so
that's as long as, I can remember, most people are stepping into adulthood, that means to them to be more serious. And we miss out on the playfulness aspect of things. I was reflecting actually this morning. Today is my birthday actually, so that is why I was reflecting today. Happy birthday! So
This is your birthday dinner. Wow.
Yes, I wanted to just break
Very
out
lucky to come to your birthday
at
dinner.
the purple carrot cake.
Oh, that's your birthday. Okay, lovely.
So one thing that I was thinking of was last year this time, I decided that I have been adulting a lot. And that means that I have started, there is this a small question that every now and again I ask myself, and that is, when was the last time you did something for the first time?
I love that.
So, and I realized it was interesting that last year, when this time of the year, I was like, oh, not much. That doesn't sound good, because we lose that momentum of experimenting and being curious and trying to do things out of our comfort zone and go crazy and be silly and do something for the fun of it and enjoy. We just want to be very polished adults, that we are very much adulting and always professionals who are having this body image like persona that we are carrying with ourselves, whereas you can go crazy and do nothing. And so I was counting all of my experiments of the last year, and happy to report I quite like the numbers this year.
That's good. Well, did you do anything crazy?
I did a few things crazy that I never had done before. I went for an impulsive solo trip that I have never done before.
Cool.
Where
did you go?
Sardinia.
Lovely.
Yeah, where no one was in Sardinia.
Yeah, everyone's there now.
Now everyone is now there, but no one was there when I went there. So I had the whole, most of the north of Ireland to myself. I did some coolest stuff. I never had been to a restaurant on my own. I did it for the first time. It is actually an interesting experiment. You are
Did you bring a book?
very much. No, I was actually looking at others,
good people watching.
reading. People watching, reading others, and it's like, how do they actually conduct themselves? Because when you go out with someone, your focus is like your friend, family, whoever. When you are on your own, you can see others. How do they behave when they come out for dinner?
It's nice watching. I like a bit of people watching. I live in Brighton, so I get great
And
fun. People watching.
And it's like I don't like to go and talk to total strangers. I normally if, for example, I am in a bus or I start a crack discussion, but I never start asking questions. But I did ask about 100 odd people, went forward, ask personal questions. How do you cope with the stress? Random, not knowing. And it's
I was interested when you said you went to the street questions with people.
That
must have been a bit.
So I had
"Oh,
exactly.
Where did you do it? Was it in London?
In the London, other cities, everywhere.
Did you?
So it is very interesting that I managed to get 120 odd people on the video, but in reality I approached more than 1,000 people. Wow. And in reality it was.
Say people are rude a bit as well.
Oh my God! I have never been treated like that before. Sometimes some people think that like you're approaching them for money. As like some people may think that you're approaching, they feel threatened. And they withdraw.
It's
and
terrible the
it's
way
like,
we've become society like that. isn't it?
yeah, and that to me that was a very interesting experiment. Like if they know who you are, actually they are quite comfortable talking to you. But that very first approach is like, no, thank you very much.
Yeah, I have like in Ireland, you'd always say hello to people.
Yeah.
All right, how's it going? Anything like. And over here, that's just not what you do. It's so weird.
Don't make eye contact.
And it's funny in certain towns where, like, I don't live in Brighton. I live in Burgess Hill, not far from Brighton. But and so I go down there a good bit. But in Burgess Hill, and in Hayward Sea and in Linfield, all these different places. There's kids' school. There's like the football club that we coach and all. And the dynamics all a little bit different. It's really funny to watch, like, because I walk my dog and I'll always go, hello, becker for her, like I'm on.
Like a strange Irish guy.
Yeah, and like some though will go, hello, and they like love to talk and they want to talk loads. And it's funny to watch people's how they react to that.
Yeah.
I have a question. Go on. What did you eat yesterday that you wouldn't normally recommend?
Oh.
And when we say recommend, I mean, it could be recommended in any kind of way. As in, I just don't like it or something. I was traveling yesterday.
I guess it means, that you wouldn't usually advise people to eat.
Like literally, I don't think I ate anything that I wouldn't advise people.
Okay, the day before
to eat.
The week before.
This week was.
You look very guilty.
Yeah, someone else.
You're like, should I say about the Burger King?
I mean, the thing is, or for example, like, but I do recommend that people say eat cake if you love it. So what, I'm like, well, what are the things you really love? Or if someone's saying,
I think you're overthinking it.
I'm overthinking
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think it's basically
I had
what rubbish did you eat yesterday that you wouldn't usually.
I had a cake from a couple of slices of a cake from Lidl.
A cake.
And it was so dry and was so brittle and it wasn't great. It was totally convenient. So I say I had about 6,000 ingredients. I was going to say my wife's lasagna.
Edit that part.
Okay, so like last week, I ate a donut on the way to the supermarket that tasted amazing, and it was exactly what I wanted and felt like, and I was like, a pre-menstrual, it was ring, it was lovely.
Was it like a cheap donut, or was it?
It was a cheap one, and it was exactly, and then I was like, great, done, satisfied, carry on. And I don't recommend it as a health promoting food, but I do recommend it if it's the thing you want to have in that moment and it makes up a small part of your nutrition, then go for it. So if those moments are happening a lot, then I take a big step back and say, what are we eating that is filling, satisfying, delicious, nutritious, etc., filling most of your nutrition with that. And then sometimes you might occasionally want a donut, But I'm not recommending we eat donuts all day.
Yeah.
That's a different thing, yeah. Because if someone is constantly wanting those sorts of things, then, you've got to look at the whole of their nutrition and look at how we're managing that as to why that could be happening.
Well, I can't tell you what I exactly had that I would not recommend. So for someone who is very conscious, in our family, a high cholesterol level is hereditary. So most of my dad had it, all of my aunties, uncles have it. So it is something that I know it is there, and I'm very conscious of it. So when talking with people, specifically within the family, I
love
very
the intro.
exactly.
You just
know
went
that I am
little
justifying.
cake. Okay. I just had the thing.
Okay.
But I loved it anyway. Go ahead.
I am prepping you, my
Yeah,
dear.
I know. I can see your.
I am justifying. I am justifying.
This is then and then.
We're here for food stories, by the way. So this is completely fine.
No. What did you eat?
Safe space.
I'm justifying.
It's your birthday.
And I love butter. That is the problem. I absolutely love butter. So we were in this function, not my guilt. I was out at work. Why should you put me on the spot? That is not even
You're literally
fair.
going to have to say outside of work, everything I do is completely perfect, okay? Or someone tricked me into eating that.
You made
It's
me
okay.
put gun on my head that you have to have that cake with the whole thing that's like starting with bread and butter and then having a very creamy soup, which was practically only cream. I think it was so delicious. But yeah, that was, and then ended up with this whole thing with ice cream, and it was a total disaster, the whole thing. I didn't eat for 24 hours.
But your
if that
eyes
is
are
helpful.
twinkling, so it
Oh,
tells
absolutely,
me that
that's
it was
so nice.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to fast straight up.
I think this is so important about the enjoyment side of things. Would I enjoy my life if I had donuts all day, every day? Absolutely not. But it is a part of my enjoyment. And I think this is very important in terms of, both of us talking about this ultra restriction. And that was what I did when I was, in those teenage years. I was not allowed to have anything. And then I ended up literally with a binge eating disorder, partly because my body was also starving. That was one part, but also because I was not allowed any cake. And then it was like, okay, I'll have that on the day I'm allowed it. That turned into horrific binging, And so obviously that shaped a lot more of my experiences to say, well, of course, this building it in just where I want is absolutely fantastic because I've been on the other side. But it's also it made me happy. Like I still remember the donut, and I'm like, that was a good walk to the supermarket. That good donut,
Good for me.
Like exactly. It's not going to be great, like I said, if you're having it all the time. But that's the thing about food not having to be perfect, and focus on getting the kind of majority of our food as healthy as we can.
I think it's just shifting the baseline.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
the
It's
general,
being
baseline.
conscious that it is just constantly trying, the one that you just said, being able to claim an everyday, like even I have adjusted this, I am adjusting to have good choices in my food every day. And if you are able to say that, then you are in a good place, I guess. But I think that perfection kills, that you want to be all or nothing. That doesn't work, and the reality of life is as if everyone within the life stands up to be against you as soon as you say all or nothing.
Completely. And I also think there is a bit of a culture of punish yourself. I ate this, so I'm going to go and work it off. That's not what we need to do. Or I'm now going to go on a diet the next day, or punish myself the next day because of something I ate. And that's why we go back to these. What are the habits, the foundation, and keep building on that foundation. I talk a lot about the building blocks. If you try and go up here first, you're going to fall back down. We start with those smaller habits, build it in, then we build more and more and more. And then it means you can ride the waves of maybe stress a bit more because you've built in more of those habits to manage things. But the all or nothing approach, which we talked about at the beginning, of course, is very damaging.
Great stuff. Thank you. We can have a coffee.
So nice.
So you want us to do?
Tradition that we keep the.
Oh, I was going to ask, can we take some of this home?
Yes.
So you were talking about when in your culture people roll out of the door.
In my family home, yeah.
No, but in our culture they
Go
roll
home.
out of the door
With food.
With a bag.
Oh, love that. And also, just to bring things back to habits as well, is that, we're also talking about, eating slowly. You don't have to overeat. And actually, bringing Tupperware, asking for this kind of thing, even in restaurants. You don't have to finish the meal on your plate, by the way. Take it with you, have it the next day. That can also, by the way, save money, because you might say, actually, I have something extra now as part of my lunch. But it is also a habit asking this, because sometimes I speak to people and they say, you might feel intimidated,
Dog
or
bag.
people say, I've never thought to ask in the restaurant, to have my food taken away. And I'm like, well, look, that's a habit you can adopt.
Yeah.
And that could just be the, the one thing that you adopt that week that's helpful to you.
It'd be a good thing to highlight to the industry as well, actually.
Yeah, on that note, maybe if you want to take away.
Yeah.
Love to. I had a question I really
Do
wanted
you want me to
ask
do the
all
4
of you
bowls
as well,
for you?
by the way.
Oh, that's actually a very good way of doing it, maybe? Huh?
No, I'll do mine.
You sure? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Because I know the bits that I like.
Evening.
Sorry, after about I would say 7:30, my filter lifts. I'm not a.
We
I'm
haven't
a-
served
I'm
any
a-
alcohol.
I don't need it, thank God. Because I'm described as an early bird. So if you want me polite, get me in the morning. After that, it just kind of. So now's the time to ask me anything. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I'm just very interested in your views on this. So one of my cards was, where do you think patients are unfairly judged?
I think it's in the ability to affect behavior change, and I think that it comes from where they're unfairly judged. I think it's in terms of behavior. We go, well, why can't you just do this?
Yeah.
You know, and that reflects lack of understanding of. I'm always going to say thank you so much. Of neuroscience, of somebody's willingness, somebody's capability, somebody's stress state, somebody's background, all of that. So, yeah, I think we are very quick to judge, which reflects a lot about ourselves as well, but that we all do it.
Yeah, we can be very, I'm not talking about patients, but people in general, I guess, presumptuous. Sometimes I have perceptions. I work with all the job centres as well, and link them into work and into the hospitality industry with adults, and people's perception of that of someone from a job centre is quite hilarious to think that if actually I lost my job tomorrow, I have to go down there, so it's not necessarily, people have this terrible, employers have this terrible misconception of people from the job centre of what they're going to receive, and they presume and jump the gun straight away all the time.
Where we haven't been fair to patients.
Yeah.
I think
we can also change this to, if you want to go wider, just people in general when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Sometimes maybe we are expecting them to. Let me just give you an example. I, at some point in 22, I decided to have a personal trainer to support me to do a bit more exercise, very much formulated, everything. And he was helping to have an eye on my nutrition, macronutrition, on like how much fiber I'm having, how much protein I'm having. So having that level. In med school, no one actually teaches you nutrition. So we do have modules, and then that's it forever. And they are expecting you to know everything about it. Now this guy, very interesting. So before I started this whole thing, experience, I hated to have eggs as breakfast. I just didn't like it. To me, breakfast meant bread and butter and jam. Full stop. If you are very, very, very lucky, walnut. Full stop. Nothing more than that, with a cup of tea or milk or something. He was adamant that for getting good protein source as the very much early first meal of the day, I should have eggs. So he's telling me I should have eggs. I'm going to him having all of these things logged and not having eggs. And obviously so I met him like on a weekly basis, and in between we would have texted each other. Once, so very early days, he texted me back saying that, "What do you not understand? I am telling you to have eggs." I was like, "You say whatever you want to say. I am not having it." So I think that sometimes we just think that potentially clients, patients, whoever who is listening to the health advices of the practitioners, on purpose, they want to go against the advice. Whereas habit easily takes over. Knowledge doesn't translate to behavior in a blink. It needs to build up. Now I do have like more eggs maybe, but it is not because he just told me and on a spot I changed my behavior. It took a good number of years for me to get there. So I think that it is more of understanding that knowledge necessarily doesn't translate to behavior.
Yeah. I mean,
And expecting that just because people know or just because a health practitioner told them, they just automatically need to turn it, if that makes sense.
what was the question?
I'm
so sorry.
Where are patients unfairly judged? I would actually love to hear about it from you on your knowledge on stress and how people manage mental health, and also the intersection between using pharmaceutical medicine and using lifestyle habits, and where you think people are maybe judged or not judged on that.
There's still a lot of stigma around mental health, and I feel that we are not understanding the whole picture. And I think also if we're just excuse me, I come from the perspective of we want to use all of it. So if you are in a crisis state and you need medication to stabilize you, then of course we're going to do that. Does lifestyle help? Of course, we know the huge impact of lifestyle, exercise, nutrition, and there are fields around nutritional psychiatry, of course, but it's about that individual. It's about their story. It's about where they are right now in this chapter of their life. So I'm not a kind of, it's about this or this, it's everything, and it's just having those tools presented in a way, in a stepwise way, where it's a collaborative relationship and you're like, okay, what is the next step? So it's combining everything. And I think for us, and this is why I adopt an integrative approach and use a lot of functional medicine, it's when you truly understand what's going on. And this is why I combine the neuroscience, obviously the cognitive stuff, so the mindset stuff, the medicine, and the somatics, and the breath work and the meditation and the movement and all of that. So it's kind of taking a really holistic, comprehensive, integrative approach. You can't separate mental health from the rest of everything else. So medication, yeah, if it's needed. Nutrition, yes, when you're able to. But if you're in crisis and you need stabilization, then you're not going to be like, oh, just go and eat more antioxidants, and saffron we know is a good, all of those things. So So I can't give you a full answer in terms of what do I do, but I everything is there. And I always say to my patients, I don't care what works. I actually don't care what works, and I'm open to anything. As long as we are doing it together and we are collaborating and there's willingness. I can't heal for you, so we have to meet each other, in the middle type thing. So
I think that if we are not having the holistic approach, we are missing the boat in reality.
almost. Sorry. And so much of mental health also stems from things that we oversee, you know, like hormonal health and changes, nutritional deficiencies, the toxins, chronic infections. So much ties into it. And if we're not exploratory and looking at the history and what's going on, then we'll just be like, oh yeah, you're just depressed. When actually, and we know there's so much more around menopause, perimenopause. It's just like, oh, here's an antidepressant. No, what you may need is HRT, or what you may need is a deep dive in terms of your hormones, or postnatal depletion, or all of these things can be masked or labeled as, oh, you're just anxious. I don't like that. Having said that, when you've got a 5 or 10 minute consultation, you can't necessarily go into
That's true.
all
That's
of
exactly
this.
what I wanted to make.
So it's about us being empowered, just generally raising the baseline and being empowered. And this is where social media is helpful, in that now a lot of women know about the perimenopause, know about, you know, there's a lot more awareness, know what happens after postnatally, know what happens at the different changes, you know, so that we are kind of generally now going, oh, could it be this? Could it be that? But yeah.
But something else that I think that it's worth mentioning is when I did the whole thing of lifestyle medicine and health coaching, I got through the whole, if you like, the curriculum that the Health Coach Association within the UK does have, and looking at like what it is that they are training their coaches on, what sort of level, the quality they have, and they are quite rigorous, and they are quite clear as where they can, how far they can support. So I think, personally, and for someone who has been working in NHS as a clinician, having been exposed to this Health Coach Association, I am thinking, why we are not using them more? Why are they not part of the, if you like, the system? Because yes, the GP doesn't have the capacity to do that support of going back to the root cause of the behavior and adjust where needed. But the coach does have that time. And why are we not why coaching even, or health coaching is as if it is categorized for a certain patient or certain people, if you will, rather than it should be available to all in a way, or more people.
Yeah, and that's where you'd want some of this to be built into other parts of education as well. I mean, some of the work you're doing as well, you know, you are teaching people how to cook food, how to use food, how to build some of these habits in younger people as well. And then this is the sort of stuff you'd want to build more into workplaces, schools, etc. Because it shouldn't just be right, someone's now really struggling, then they want to build some of those habits. It's this is where, you know, we said we don't want to divide preventative and treatment. We want it to be something that's more holistic, exactly. And it should be seen as that, as opposed to, I now need to eat more healthily because this has happened. We want it to be part of a mindset that we grow with, but it's not at that point yet, is it?
Yeah, we do this thing called Fuel Your Future. So
for young people?
Yeah, from 6, because with the colleges, it's mostly 6, we have about 1,500 students, 500 are 16 to 18, 1,000 are adults, but across all the colleges, so it's within the group, there's 12 colleges across London. And so we're going to do one workshop in each one next year. So we just piloted it in Haringey and the one there we have there. And we just do this Fuel Your Future. We're just going, just me and the nutritionist from culinary medicine, and we just talk about very simple, just little nudges and changes, and just talking about your fistful size and all the evidence and everything. It's all done properly, and I just do a few demonstrations. We give them some recipes, booklets that we have, and then they get the opportunity, if they want, they can do a Saturday thing that we do at the college then. That's 4 Saturdays in a row, just learning about cooking for themselves and So just understanding how to cook very simple, healthy meals and mix matching and being able to, because at that stage they're going to go work or they're going to go to university. So it's a really niche kind of place to be there to have impact, you know. So we start doing that, and we're going to be rolling that out. On the women's health thing as well, actually, we have, if he's are interested, he's more than welcome to come along. But doing an event on women's health, if you have a look at our socials, you'll see it. It's on Friday the 12th evening in the College of Westminster. It's actually sold out, but if you are interested in coming, you can come as our guests. And when I say sold out, it's only £10 a ticket. We're giving it to charity, to a women's. Sorry, I'm not great.
I was actually
You have to meet my
that.
colleague, my partner. She's a GP.
will do the
She's an
marketing
NHS
of this.
GP, and she's the marketer. I'm just trying to explain. I'm doing a dem and
You're doing
making
a
all the
good job.
canapes that are related to the evening. But yeah, have a
I
look at our
actually
socials.
was interested to come, but I'm not in London, so.
Yeah, cool. So or anything like that, more than welcome.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
you
It
very
was very,
much.
very delicious.
Really
Thank
nice.
I know. We're not done yet. Wow.
you. Okay.
We're having
nice
birthday
palette
cake.
cleanser.
Yeah, that is where I wanted. That is where I wanted to announce that tonight is my birthday. But I can close on something, and that is, what truth about health might upset people?
Maybe you have to do a lot of it yourself. Is that I think so. It's got to be habits. You got to get into a system. You're gonna. I don't know.
It depends a lot on
Sure,
yourself.
health. I don't know.
I think
Upset
that
people.
the system is geared towards health, but we have forgotten and we have become disconnected from it. And so it's not about kind of, I think it's about returning to our design as opposed to building something new. I think I always say, you know, I'm not about reinventing the wheel. It's not about, it's okay. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's just about reminding ourselves, each other, to come back to it. Everything is already there. You know, everything is kind of everything's already there. So I think that we want to overcomplicate, but it's simple. It's not necessarily easy, but it's simple.
I think I would agree
love
with
this.
that as well.
I love-
And I think one of the others that can upset some people, is that there's not these hard and fast rules. I think people want to make a rule. If it's got more than 5 ingredients, it's bad. If you can't pronounce it, it's bad. And you know, actually, it doesn't work like that. But that can upset people because they want to just easily sell something on that basis.
Happy
Sing happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to
you.
you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, dear Hosnieh. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
I love the
tiles
tiles.
are
Beautiful.
Oh, it's such a lovely idea.
So this is purple carrot cake made with purple carrots. And
Carrot.
what else is it? What else is in the
Must be
cake?
some nuts in there, is there?
Okay, we'll try and we're gonna guess. Okay, fine.
It's so nice. It's really nice. Very nice. I cannot.
Cardamom. That's it.
That's very good stuff. Oh, our chef can tell.
Oh yeah.
I hate that game.
Yes, we want every ingredient now.
What is in it?
He's savoring it.
His brain is going and thinking through all the ingredients. And what's the
Dates?
cream on top?
It's vegan cheese cream.
Vegan cream cheese.
It's so nice. Really
It's very
nice. Very homey.
Yeah.
It's made with oats and almond.
Oat flour, almond flour, or just oats? Ah, okay.
Like overnight oats. Like
Yeah.
oats, but almond flour.
It's so nice.
I usually really don't like almond flour, but it's very nice.
We
Yeah.
just hid
I'm
it.
like basically.
And on top, it's purple carrot jam.
Mm.
Did you make the jam yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, this came, I thought that I am actually full. So I'm going to have just a bite to be polite. But then I had the bite and it's like, no, I'm having all of it.
It's like my daughter says she's got like her tummy, her stomach for food, but then there's this whole other compartment that's different from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for the
that is
dessert.
for dessert.
And I was like, yes, anatomically completely correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Science. We have another stomach.
She's like, oh no, just because I'm full here, it doesn't mean this one's full. Separate.
What I also love about you saying, oh, I usually don't like this, but I like this in there, is the endless possibilities of what you can do with food.
Yeah, we are not experimenting enough.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is there are so many people, all of us included, where we go, I don't really like that, and then you have it cooked in a different way, and you have your eyes opened, which is why we want to get, I guess it comes back to play around with food, swapping ingredients, and we need
We have
knowledge
forgotten
then.
to play to begin with, period.
Exactly, and we also need some knowledge to do that, because when we do start swapping ingredients in and out, it takes some base knowledge and confidence
Well, I
to
have
be
been
able to do
told
that in the first place.
more than once that
Yeah.
my experiments may ruin the ingredients that otherwise were edible.
Let's play, we're playing.
60% of the calories we get as people comes from just four plants. Grains. So what are they?
Which
Oh, you are
Yeah, come on,
quizzed.
tell us.
Huh?
What are they?
Wheat,
Wheat, yeah.
wheat, rice.
Rice, yeah.
Corn.
Yeah, maize, yeah.
And the
Corn, is it?
Maize.
Like,
Yeah, corn, I guess.
the other one,
Yeah, so American, if you think about it, like.
barley, because it goes in beer as well. Is that right?
No, the other one is rice. Rice, wheat. What is the other one?
Maize.
No, maize is corn, same thing, innit?
Soy?
So-
No.
No.
You're just thinking that goes, well, a lot of that gets fed to animals. This is not to us. But.
Oh, I'll have to come back. What was the fourth one? I'll come back. But it's just four. There is just four. Yeah.
and that is 60%
And like
of
that's-
our calories.
Yeah, and there's so many different varieties of, but we're not like using all. That's just the same variety as well. That's crazy, like, isn't it? And that's why our biodiversity is in such a mess, like, because it's just churning out the same stuff
We're not
again and
getting
again and
this,
again and again.
Yeah, of course, most people are actually not eating enough soy, but most of the soy on the planet is grown to feed animals, as opposed, it's over 80% is grown to feed animals, when actually, it's a beneficial thing for humans to eat, actually, and it'd be great if you shift a bit more towards that way of plant protein.
So that is something that I heard that I found it is very actually interesting in terms of I think it was the culinary medicine course, I think it was, that we are going to be very kind to our guts if we start having at least one sort of plant or vegetable on a daily basis that we haven't tried before, or we are not usually have it in our diet. So just experimenting with new sources of fiber and
The plant, it's called plant points, isn't it? It's this thing of aim for 30 different plants a week, which the thing is, it sounds really complicated, but say you take a breakfast and you put different types of nuts on, a couple of different types of fruit, and then you vary that during the week, or swap out the vegetables, or use a different grain, you're building those up very quickly. Mixing beans for like a mixed bean stew, or adding a different type of bean or lentil into the rice, all of those little bits, they all add up. So sort of like you said, trying something new. If you usually use kidney beans, get the butter beans. If you sometimes make your own hummus, try a different bean as well. So it sounds very complicated, sometimes trying a lot of new things, but if you break it down into, keep coming back to this, a small habit to pick a different fruit, pick a different vegetable, different herb and spice.
And I have this big opinion that our industry, hospitality industry and culinary world can have such impact on that, because I think that it's when you come out to eat in places where we look at what we had and go, I'm going to get some proper carrots, I'm going to try that. And we can actually, we have quite a responsibility to drive a bit of change there. I'm often telling them, you know, we're the ones that will change that supply chain. And if you think of farmers in developing countries, they're just growing the maize again and again and again. But if we start using something different, then they'll start growing that. The demand will come there and they'll start growing that and it'll start to shift. And that's why I always talk about banging in the beans and adding in more beans to things and using more and more legumes. And culturally, that happens a lot, right? But it doesn't, mainstream is not happening enough, You think it's bad here, you should see Ireland. And you're the first people not to say it was a potato. Which I think people just say because I'm Irish. Every time people go to potato.
So this is tea with no milk you are having, but have you had tea with no milk before? Yeah?
I've always never been into milk, so all my tea and coffee is always black, apart from the occasional soy latte. But I love black coffee, I love black tea. That's a personal preference. So this is great. But if there was a bit of oat milk or whatever in it, I'd also drink it.
What about you?
I like my oat milk in my tea.
Me too.
I've tried.
I love oat milk and tea. I cannot drink normal milk and tea at all. And if I get it now, I'm like, oh, that's horrible. So change it.
I've tried to do the lemon in tea, but it's just a different drink. But I love matcha, matcha and chai.
Do you want some oat milk now?
I would actually. Yeah.
Can you tell us what makes this Persian tea?
Because
and how Persian tea is usually served, or
it is Persian tea because it is coming from Iran. So the leaves are coming from Iran, but the way that the tea is brewed is we go with loose leaves. And you leave it to give the color and the essence. So the essence of it is different, and the smell, if you will, and the color. And it is not that bitter. So normally
because
that can be.
Is that because of how long?
Yeah, I think it is because of the type of herb.
The type of that's being used. Yeah, or the age of the leaf when it's picked.
And don't go technical. I have no clue.
Okay, you tell her. You know your culinary.
Could be lots of different things. Depends on how the way the plant itself and the flavour from that.
Yeah.
Exact tea, I suppose.
So, on the conversation of trying new things, what is an ingredient that you have never tried, or say that you never or rarely cook with, or that you've experienced recently or even tonight that you think, actually, I could cook with that a bit more?
I didn't use these type of mushrooms instead of chicken. I could have.
I think for me it's beans. So I'm just, all the different types of beans. In Morocco we have a lot of beans, but I just forgot about them. And they just kind of dropped from my radar. And so now I'm just putting them in everything. Different type, black beans, berlotti beans, butter beans. All the different types of beans. And also herbs. I think they're really underutilized. So just trying to use more herbs, which is tricky because I prefer fresh herbs. Then storing them is and then I'm like, I've got to use up one. And so I remember having all this parsley, and so I blitzed it, mixed it with olive oil, and then froze it as cubes. And just things like that.
That's actually a good idea. But my sister does the herbs. She mixed variety of different herbs and leaves, and then add a bit of water to it. practically, and it becomes like a herb juice.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. Like I mean, I am so spoiled in that regard because I get it ready posted to me. So I can have like at least like on a daily basis I can get a bit of herbs, but it makes such a difference.
Yeah, even just actually, yeah.
Some of the things in the booklets that we have, I make different pastes by just doing that, and different herb pastes and using a different curry paste and making them into using an ice cube tray, and then just come home from work, showing your
easy.
chickpeas, and then just throw in an ice cube, and it will just make your sauce.
And I do that also with so for people who have Helicobacter pylori or like us.
So you need to tell us.
Okay, so basically, if we're wanting to stimulate our digestive enzymes, and we think about kind of increasing that stomach activity, things like lemon, apple cider vinegar, all of that. So what is and ginger, very, very good antimicrobial, and just kind of to start that process. So what I've done, I've got now cubes of lemon and ginger, and I can't remember something else. And so just popping one out, some warm water, and then adding some apple cider vinegar, a bit of honey, and it's a really nice kind of tonic to start with.
Thank you very much for having the dinner on my birthday. I appreciate for you coming, and I know that it is late, but it is hopefully you are going to have a good weekend, long weekend, and thank you again for being here.